Dreaming of cracking the UPSC Civil Services examination? Unsure about where to start or how to navigate the challenging path to success? Vision IAS Delhi's GS Foundation Course 2026 is here to provide the right direction, support, and resources to transform your dream into reality. This holistic course is designed to prepare you for every aspect of the UPSC CSE, prelims, mains, and interview. Here's what makes this course a game changer. Complete syllabus coverage from GS prelims to mains, CSAT, ethics, essay, and current affairs. We leave no stone unturned. Top-notch faculty learn from Delhi's most experienced mentors who have guided countless toppers. Personalized mentorship, tailored feedback, and performance assessments to help you constantly improve. Exclusive current affairs preparation. Master the dynamic part of the syllabus with PT 365 and Mains 365 sessions. This course isn't just about preparation, it's about building the confidence and strategy you need to excel. Batches starting for 2026, 2027 and 2028. Karol Bagh, 17th December, 9 a.m. 29th November, 5 p.m. GTB Nagar, 13th December, 6 p.m. 23rd December, 8 a.m. Your journey to UPSC success starts with Vision IAS.
So, so welcome to this discussion on two important topics of the recent current context. So, one, it's very clear. So, for for those who are right now staying in Delhi, so it's already practical is done. So we'll discuss regarding the theory. Okay, that is Delhi's air pollution. And the second important topic, which so you must have heard about the recent incidents of increased floods. Okay, so that is one of the important reason behind it is the faster melting of glaciers. Okay, so these two topics we'll be discussing today. Okay, the first topic would be the Delhi's air pollution. So the idea of this master's class series. So basically to discuss the current issues in detail. Okay, so and to bring a holistic perspective from the point of view of UPSC and any other related competitive exams. Okay? So I would be discussing the things from both prelims and mains aspect. So covering those facts and information which you would need from prelims point of view, as well as so analytical aspect which is required for mains point of view. Okay, so let's start with the first topic. So let me give you a brief introduction, which does not require much of introduction to you guys. So let's see what exactly is the issue. So that is just a brief introduction, we can say, to explain the situation of air pollution in Delhi. ठीक है, मेरे लिए भी. So we'll try to go in detail here. So the overall topic requires a detailed discussion in terms of what exactly is the issue. Okay, so first of all, what is the issue? What is the problem? What is the reason behind this? Okay, so what are the different causes? Why the air quality becomes so bad? There are various different dimensions to this. And third one is, what is the impact of this? Okay, so we say kya dikkat hota hai? So what are the different impacts? And then the measures which are being taken to control this issue. Okay, whatever the measures which are being implemented, and then comes what else we have to do it. Okay, so this will be the overall discussion. So first of all, the issue, the air quality drops severely in the month of October, November, December. The peak time is usually the month of November, and in the recent times, due to the changing patterns of climate, so we are seeing more of it in the by the end of November and in the first half of December. This is the peak time of the bad air quality in Delhi. Okay, so what exactly happens? Many of these air pollutants, which are considered to be highly hazardous for the human beings as well as for the environment, their concentration suddenly increases during this time. Okay, so the overall, the pollutants, the particles which are considered to be hazardous, their proportion suddenly increases. Okay, so and it happens during this peak time, the second half of November and the first half of December. Okay, so one of the major aspect of this is smog formation. Okay, so smog formation is the major issue which we face during this time. Okay, so what is smog? What are the components of smog? What are the types of smog? That we will see first. That will understand what is the issue. Then we'll come to the causes. Fine. So whatever the air pollutants which we are seeing right now, you must have heard about PM10, PM2.5. Okay, so and then there are oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur. Okay, so carbon monoxide, and there are a few hydrocarbons, and there's also the term ozone, tropospheric ozone. Okay, so these are the major air pollutants which we see during this time. Okay, so their proportion increases drastically. It's mainly because of the smog formation. Okay, so what is smog? Smog kya hota hai? Commonly we hear this definition, smog is basically smoke plus fog. Right? It is not always true. Yes, in some cases, the type of smog which is formed is the combination of smoke plus fog. So otherwise, in other cases, even without fog can also be smog be seen. Okay, so in some cases, so overall, it is basically smoke. Okay, so it is basically smoke and other heavy pollutants which appear like fog. It has this foggy appearance, that kind of thick smoke. Do you see smoke and dust particles? No, you don't see that because the overall concentration is less and they get dispersed. But in some conditions, it becomes so thick, so dense, and they don't get dispersed. They form a thick layer. It appears like a fog. Such kind of thick layer of pollutants is what is called as smog. The thick layer of pollutants which appear like fog. Okay, so it is a type of air pollution characterized by hazy or smoky appearance. Hazy or smoky appearance. It contains a large number of pollutants. Smog is basically a type of secondary pollutant. Okay, so now talking about the air pollutants, when I talk about the air pollutants, we classify them into two categories. So one is primary, another one is secondary. A primary air pollutant is the one which is released directly from the source into the atmosphere. Okay, it is the air pollutant which is released by mainly by human activities. Okay, so we are the one who are releasing them and we directly release them. हमने उसको as it is छोड़ा है. Okay, for example, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur. Okay, so what about carbon dioxide? Is it a primary air pollutant? Is it a pollutant? Yes. So for that, I have to tell you what is a pollutant then. What is a pollutant? Tell me first, what is a pollutant? What is a pollutant? Tell me the meaning of pollutant. Okay. So any substance which causes disruption to the naturally existing conditions. Okay, natural conditions को जो disrupt करता है उसे कोई हम pollutant बोलते हैं. Naturally occurring condition, naturally occurring state को हम disrupt करेंगे. Okay, so it may be due to the addition of new matter which was not there existing, which was not there already, or maybe by changing the concentration of those which was already there. Okay, even by changing the concentration, you can bring changes in the quality of environment. Still, it will be called as a pollutant. Therefore, even carbon dioxide is a pollutant. Okay, so by changing the quantity of carbon dioxide, you bring changes in the natural state of atmosphere. Okay, so everything which causes disturbance, everything which causes changes in the natural state of atmosphere or any kind of natural environment is called as pollutant. Air pollutant causes changes in the air quality. And that primary air pollutants are those which are directly released by the human beings into the atmosphere. Secondary air pollutants are not released by us, but however, the primary air pollutants react among themselves, resulting in the formation of a secondary compound. Basically, this is not something which we released. We released something and they themselves reacted and became something else. Those kind of pollutants are called as secondary pollutants. Smog is the best example of a secondary air pollutant. Right? So we release a large number of primary air pollutants. Okay, for example, particulate matter, very fine particles, solid particles which are suspended in the air, varying between 2.5 up to 100 microns. In that, the smallest one is 2.5. Then comes PM10, okay, particulate matter 10. Then comes little bit bigger. In this PM10, PM2.5, more dangerous one, because they don't get settled down. They are suspended in the air and they can reach the innermost part of our lungs, particularly PM2.5. Other than that PM, there's also other particles, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur. Oxides of nitrogen कहाँ से आते हैं? Vehicular emissions, combustion process releases oxides of nitrogen. Okay, so oxides of sulfur comes from the burning of coal and other petroleum products. Okay, oxides of sulfur. Okay, so then dust particles, volatile organic compounds, all of these are released directly into the atmosphere. They are the primary pollutants. They react among themselves and that produces a secondary pollutant which is called as smog. The smog appears like a dense hazy layer and obviously it reduces visibility. You will see the formation of smog in those regions of urban areas. Okay, so urban areas where there is very high vehicular emissions, very high construction activities, or in industrial areas. Okay, so it is possible in both the areas. Usually in urban areas we have industries also, but otherwise if there is only completely industrial area, there is a possibility of smog. Okay. How exactly smog is formed? Okay, so कैसे बनता है? So what you see here on daily basis is basically smog only. Okay, जो बाहर जाके दिल्ली के बाहर जाके देखते हो, तो चाहिए तो अभी देख के आना, practical हो जाएगा. Okay, so you climb to the terrace of your building. So what you see in the sky is basically smog. Okay, so you go to the high-rise building, you will get better view of smog. Okay, so usually, so in most of the movies you must have seen, Delhi का मतलब तो ये इंडिया गेट दिखाते हैं या राष्ट्रपति भवन दिखाते हैं. तो विंटर में ऐसे दिखता है. ये भी बहुत पास में है, so it's very close. The overall visibility you can see. This thick dense layer which is appearing like a smoky and foggy is what is smog. So how they are formed? The first stage is the release of pollutants. I told you these pollutants mainly the ones which are released directly into the atmosphere, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur, okay, and few other volatile compounds. In addition to this, PM, particulate matter, huge quantity of particulate matter. All of these are released into the atmosphere. Okay, once these pollutants reach the atmosphere, यहाँ से हमने release किया था, ये पूरा चला गया atmosphere के अंदर, and they undergo reactions among themselves. This reaction happens in two different ways. One happens in the presence of sunlight. Whenever there is a sunny conditions, whenever there is a dry conditions, under those conditions it reacts among themselves. It forms a particular type of smog. So wherever there is moisture condition, little bit higher humidity, wherever there is temperature is more low, there another type of smog is formed. Okay, overall they react among themselves. Okay, these compounds will react among themselves in the presence of sunlight, in the presence of moisture. Okay, so in some cold conditions, and that creates smog. Once smog is formed, the smog contains a thick layer of pollutants, secondary pollutants, few other compounds which we had not at all expected. हमने कुछ छोड़ा था वो जाके और कुछ बन गया. So what are they? उसके अंदर क्या होता है? For example, ozone, O3. You must have heard that there is ozone in the stratosphere which we call it as good ozone, which reduces the amount of UV radiation, right? However, the same ozone, if it comes to the troposphere, it causes serious health issue because ozone is highly hazardous. The same ozone, even if you go to stratosphere and inhale that ozone, it has the same effect. Don't think वो good ozone दे वो good ही रहेगा वो हमारे से दूर है ना इसलिए good है. Okay, so and the overall ozone, the same ozone, if it comes to the troposphere, it becomes a bad ozone because it comes closer and we start to inhale it. Out of the overall ozone present in the entire atmosphere, 90% is in stratosphere, 10% is in troposphere. And this 10% ozone is mainly formed due to human activity. One way of forming this ozone is through smog. When all of these compounds are reacting among themselves, it produces ozone also. Okay, smog, one of the important component is ozone. Okay, so it is highly hazardous for human health. Another one is PAN. What is PAN? Peroxyacetyl nitrate. Okay, peroxyacetyl nitrate. Okay, so again another important compound. Okay, which is hazardous, which is formed because of these reactions. Okay, so there is also acrolein, formaldehyde. Okay, they are all produced, they are all part of this smog. So now the smog layer will trap all these secondary pollutants and presents it in front of us. Chalo le lo. Gift hai aapke liye, winter ka gift. Okay, so this accumulation will not get dispersed very easily. It becomes a thick and dense layer. It becomes difficult to get dispersed. That will reduce the overall air quality. Air quality ko pura drop kar dega. It causes severe health issues. It's because of this. Okay, so this is what is smog. Now, depending upon the type of reactions which are happening here, I told you first the accumulation of primary air pollutants in the atmosphere, then they react among themselves and it forms a smog layer. Smog layer reduces the bad air quality. Depending upon the reactions happening among themselves, we have two types of smog. One is classical smog, another one is photochemical smog. Classical smog and photochemical smog. So both the type of smog are associated with a specific type of reactions. Yahan par dekho. So among the various compounds which are released, which are responsible for the formation of smog. Okay, these are the primary air pollutants which were released, which finally becomes the secondary air pollutants, and this is mainly smog. Among these, if the oxides of nitrogen, okay, called as NOx, if the oxides of nitrogen is higher in proportion, okay, if it is mainly the oxides of nitrogen along with the other pollutants, it results in the formation of smog, which is called as photochemical smog, because it reacts under the influence of sunlight. Sunlight चाहिए वो react होके smog बनने में. Okay, so in the presence of sunlight, it reacts among themselves, and that results in the formation of photochemical smog. If other than this, instead of this, if there is SOx, that is oxides of sulfur. Okay, these oxides of sulfur reacts with other compounds and forms another type of smog. For that, it requires lower temperature, cold conditions, and slightly humid conditions. यहाँ पर चाहिए आपको fog. Okay, तो यहाँ पर इस condition में आपको चाहिए fog. Okay, so in that case, the smog which is formed is called as classical smog. Two types of smog. One is classical smog, another one is photochemical smog. A classical smog is mainly formed due to the oxides of sulfur. Photochemical smog is mainly formed due to the presence of oxides of nitrogen. And oxides of nitrogen requires a good amount of sunlight. Okay, so it requires a good amount of sunlight for them to react. It requires a good amount of sunlight. Oxides of sulfur requires little bit of moisture. Okay, so it requires little bit of moisture and little bit colder conditions. In the presence of colder conditions, you see the formation of this kind of smog. Okay, the earliest which we recorded, which we saw the presence of this kind of smog, the classical smog, was in London. Okay, around 1950s, we see this formation of a thick smog engulfing entire London. Okay, it was like a, so you know, apocalypse. Okay, pura dunya khatam hone wala hai, aise, you know, they had not seen that kind of smog at all. It was one of the worst scenario. It killed many people. So therefore, the name London smog. The classical smog is also called as London smog, because it appeared for the first time in around 1950s in London. The photochemical smog in large scale appeared for the first time in Los Angeles, USA. Okay, it's around the same time, 1948 or so. So therefore, it is also called as Los Angeles smog. Los Angeles is slightly higher latitudes than Delhi, or London is much more higher latitude. Okay, so here if you see during the winter, the temperature is down, and the British type of climate, it has a good amount of moisture throughout the year. There is a cool and humid climate. Okay, so therefore the conditions are favorable. And oxides of sulfur comes from mainly which source? Industries, coal burning. Okay, so large number of coal burning industrial emissions se aate hai oxides of sulfur. So that is responsible for London smog. Okay, so at that point of time, there was no climate change, no global warming, no air pollution, nothing. Nobody was worried about the environment. Okay, they were using coal to a very great extent. Coal, petroleum, सब कुछ जैसे चाहिए वैसे जला रहे थे. अभी बोलते हैं ये लोग कम करो. Okay, so because of this uncontrolled burning of coal, huge amount of sulfur compounds accumulated in the atmosphere near to that region, and it reacted, and that resulted in the formation of classical smog. So tell me now, what are the conditions? Oxides of sulfur, cool, humid conditions. Okay, so low temperature and higher moisture levels. Higher moisture level causes the formation of fog very easily. Okay, under cold temperature, higher moisture level, it results in the formation of fog. Now fog and these sulfur compounds which cause the formation of classical smog. Los Angeles, slightly towards the lower latitudes, temperature is warmer. Okay, so there it is more of them is urban areas. Okay, so large number of automobiles. It is through these automobile emissions we have a good number of oxides of nitrogen. A higher quantity of oxides of nitrogen is released due to automobile emissions. Here it is mainly due to industrial emissions, particularly coal burning. Here it is mainly due to automobiles. Okay, oxides of nitrogen is released over there, and that under sunny conditions, sunny and dry conditions, it reacts to form a type of smog which is called as photochemical smog. Now tell me, Delhi smog is which one type? Which type is this? Photochemical smog. You may think the conditions are cool and humid. No. First of all, it is not humid, it is totally dry. Delhi's winter condition is totally dry, it is not humid. Second, cool in the sense they are comparing London and Los Angeles. There it is cooler, there it is hotter. You compare Delhi and Los Angeles is hotter. Okay, it's just a comparative term. When you say hot sunlight, it is not referring to the tropical regions hot and sunlight. ओके तो उनके लिए नॉर्मल जो 20-25 डिग्रीज इटसेल्फ इज हॉट, जो यहाँ पर हो जाते हैं नॉर्मली, है ना. लंदन जैसे कूल तो नहीं हो सकता यहाँ पर. ओके दिस इज नॉट लाइक लंदन कूल, दिस इज लॉस एंजलिस कूल. तो उनके लिए वही हॉट है, बताओ. Okay, so overall the presence of sunlight is there, presence of dry condition is there, that is what is. ये वार्म से मिसगाइड मत हो, हमारा वार्म अलग है, इनका वार्म अलग है, ठीक है. तो वार्म सनी एंड ड्राई इज Delhi is cool sunny and dry. The smog which is experienced over Delhi during the winters is photochemical smog. Okay, here also it is mainly through vehicular emission, one of the largest contributors. So this is mainly during the winter, this is mainly during the summer in Los Angeles and winter in Delhi. Okay, so Los Angeles ka summer is basically winter of Delhi. And this smog gives grayish and blackish look. हमारा तो brownish है ना, right? Photochemical smog is brownish. दिखाओ picture देखो. This is not blackish, right? This is brownish or reddish. So what are the basic components inside this smog? Of course, depending upon the nature of smog, there is also a difference in terms of components. Classical smog mainly contains oxides of sulfur, particulate matter and moisture. Okay, higher moisture level and carbon monoxide, sulfuric acid. Okay, so here mainly oxides of nitrogen, volatile organic compounds, ozone, pan and aldehyde, formaldehydes. Okay, they are the major compounds here. Okay, so these are the compounds which are mainly present in Delhi smog. ठीक है. So ये prelims के लिए useful रहेगा आपके लिए, इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. Main components of photochemical smog. So we have a very good smog formation over Delhi during winter because the conditions are all favorable. And this smog is highly hazardous. We'll talk about the impacts later. Let's see what causes this smog over Delhi during the winter. What is the reason responsible for the smog formation over Delhi during the winter? Okay, it's because of this only we have this severe air quality, bad air quality and all these. So cough, running nose, all of this. There are three major aspects to this air pollution. Okay, when you talk about Delhi's air pollution, it is not a result of one single factor. Multiple factors contribute together and causes this bad air quality over Delhi. Air pollution of Delhi is attributed to three factors. One is release of pollutants. Okay, so a large number of pollutants are released over Delhi. Okay, so this is the primary cause, of course. In addition to this, there is a role played by the time, most important factor. सबके लिए चाहिए time. अगर time हमारे साथ में है तो अच्छा है, time नहीं है तो ये खराब time. There is also a role of space. Okay, three different dimensions. So one, a good amount of pollutants, ये तो चाहिए. Okay, this is the basic reason behind the air pollution, right? In addition to this, there is a role of time. In addition to this, there is a role of space. First, let's talk about the pollutants. Delhi releases a very high quantity of pollutants throughout the year. I'm talking throughout the year. Okay, so leave about a specific time that we will see in the role of time. Okay, so because Delhi's overall urban population, as per the one of the recent estimate, this is considered to be the second highest in the world. Okay, overall urban population of Delhi NCR, the largest urban region in the world. Okay, so second largest, or maybe it has overtaken to be the largest also. Okay, so from here in this large urban area, there's huge number of various different sources which causes the release of large number of air pollutants. The largest of all of this is vehicular emissions. Vehicular emissions is the largest of all the sources. Okay, so best example you must have seen. So in most of the places in Delhi, there's always vehicles. कोई भी रोड में जाओ, कोई भी गली में जाओ. Okay, so jam, traffic jam. आपको ऐसे जगह नहीं मिलता है जहाँ पर रोड खाली है. Okay, so on both the sides of the road, it's usually the vehicles are parked. Okay, so you come to my native place. वहाँ पर vehicles बाहर नहीं रखते हैं. Okay, so vehicle के लिए separate जगह होगा, घर के अंदर रखे तब भी नींद आएगा. यहाँ पर तो जगह ही नहीं है. ओके, पहले तो जगह भी नहीं है, दूसरे तो इतने सारे व्हीकल इसको कहाँ लेके जाएं. एवरीथिंग इज लेफ्ट ऑन द रोड. ठीक है, सो जितना भी महंगा गाड़ी हो, ऑडी, BMW, ओके, सब कुछ रास्ते में ही रहेगा. ओके, सो एंड दिस इज सो इट्स ऑल्सो एसोसिएटेड विद काइंड ऑफ द सोशल वे ऑफ लाइफ, है ना. So यहाँ पर है ना, अब तो ये particularly in the northern plains I have observed this. It's associated with the status symbol, social status. Okay, जितना बड़ा गाड़ी हो, जितना high value हो, जितना number, okay, एक घर में 2-3 लोग हैं तो भी 4-5 गाड़ी चाहिए. And all of them are like high-end vehicles. They also cause high-end pollution. So पार्क करने के लिए जगह नहीं है, गाड़ी चाहिए. There's a very well developed, very well connected metro, so one of the best in India. And फिर भी सबसे ज़्यादा vehicles road में दिल्ली में ही है. Yes. And so people think the use of mass transportation, bus, okay, so yeah, metro, or even auto rickshaw for that matter. Okay, so they don't see it as something which is of convenience, rather like ये नहीं करना है तो ये तो हमारे इससे बाहर है. अब तो कोई ऑटो में आ रहा है तो उनको लगता है कि बेचारा इसके पास गाड़ी नहीं. गरीब आदमी या बाइक में आ रहे हैं. So on the other hand, so I have seen, okay, so I have seen in Mumbai, so there is a greater acceptance of transportation in auto rickshaw. Okay, so you come to south, in Bangalore for that matter, bike. Okay, so bike has a greater social acceptance. Here in the northern plains, it's not so. Okay, particularly in Delhi, around this region, this is my observation. So large number of vehicles. Okay, even if one person is going, so you take out the same car. Okay, so जिसके वजह से इतने सारे pollutants निकलते हैं. What are the major pollutants which comes out from the automobile, vehicular emissions? Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur, PM10, PM2.5, volatile organic compounds. One of the largest source is vehicular emissions. Okay, that is why there is so much of these campaigns. Okay, so red light on, गाड़ी off. Okay, so they are one of the largest. जो particularly जो signal रहता है, traffic signal रहता है ना, so there if you are holding it there for longer time, you are continuously burning. It adds to the pollution, right? Other than this, construction, yes. The second important, most important source of so the pollutants and particulate matter in Delhi is construction. How construction adds pollutants to the air? How is it produced? Demolition. It is the demolition which produces this dust and fine particles. Okay, so of course construction also produces, but more is produced through demolition because there is no space in Delhi. Okay, so you want to construct something new, you have to demolish the old building. तभी तो बनेगा. There is no space at all. कहीं भी नया building बनता है, पुराना को तोड़ना है, तभी बनेगा. This process is called as urban renewal. It is through urban renewal process the buildings are made, construction activity is done. It releases huge amount of dust. right? It is a continuous process throughout the year. You will see. You see the release of huge quantity of PM10, PM2.5, silica, and oxides of nitrogen, carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, all these chemicals and the various materials which we use in construction activities, all of them, they produce this. Industrial pollution, of course, there's large number of industries around Delhi NCR. Okay, so all these industries, they mainly produce oxides of sulfur and oxides of nitrogen, main compounds. In addition to this, we have heavy metals like lead, mercury, ammonia, etc. In addition to, of course, PM10, PM2.5. And to sustain this big urban area, you need thermal power plant. There are a large number of thermal power plant. For example, our Badarpur thermal power plant. कि जब भी air quality ज़्यादा हो गया, पहले उसी को ही हम बंद कर देंगे. Right? So there are a good number of thermal power plant. We need that to ensure regular source of power. And they also produce a good number of oxides of sulfur and oxides of nitrogen. Coal burning, of course, releases huge quantity of sulfur. Okay, then the particulate matter, PM10, PM2.5. Because the quality of coal which is used in India is not of a very high grade coal. And there's a good amount of mercury produced from the coal thermal power plant, as in prelims, UPSC. Mercury is released from thermal power plant, of course. Burning of waste is another major source. Yes, all this urban population, they produce huge quantity of waste. What happens to this waste? A very minimal proportion is sent for recycling. Many very मतलब बहुत minimal proportion ही जाता है recycling के लिए. बाकी सारा कहाँ जाएगा? Landfills. The beautiful mountains which we have made around Delhi. Okay, so तीन बन गया. So one towards the north, another towards the east, third towards the south. West खाली है, बन जाएगा अभी. Okay, they are just building over a period of time. Okay, so when I saw for the first time, so I was so surprised. इतना बड़ा पहाड़ है, तो plain area है. In the northern Ganga plains, how come we have this kind of big mountain? So दूर से तो देखा ऐसे लगा, पास में जाने के बाद में समझा. Okay, so and it is just piling up. What happens to that? It is burnt. Okay, so जो legacy waste है वो तो पूरा दब के पूरा नीचे चला गया है. उसके ऊपर जो regularly होगा तो dry products है जो भी जला सकते हैं regularly उसको जला देंगे. A huge quantity of this waste is burnt. That burning produces huge amount of pollutants, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, PM10, PM2.5, dioxins, furans, methane, volatile organic compounds, all of them. So basically these are the source of pollutants which is responsible for bad air quality, but all of these are there throughout the year. ये सारा तो throughout the year है. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हम vehicles तो ज़्यादा चलाएंगे winter में. Okay, so we release without any kind of discrimination throughout the year, we release a good amount of pollutants. Okay, it is there. But during the other seasons, we will not get to know. During the other seasons, we have the support of time and space. During the winter season, it goes against us. Okay, so let's see the role of time. Okay, these are the major source of PM 2.5, one of the worst pollutant. The largest comes from vehicle. Okay, the largest of it comes from the vehicles. Okay, in spite of having one of the largest number of CNG vehicles on the road, कि CNG कम है, ऐसा नहीं कि CNG का नहीं होता है, उसका सबसे कम होता है. In spite of that, it is the largest. Then comes the road dust, power plants, construction, residual, landfill, etc. PM 2.5 का इसमें. Yeah, so residential includes various, the dust particles or even the residue of, let's say, carpet or the clothes. Okay, so हाँ, जो indoor process से निकलता है. Okay, so वहाँ से तो निकलता है. So huge quantity of it comes out. Okay, so first let's talk about the role of space, then we'll come to the role of time. Okay, so the role of space. So where do we have Delhi located? Where is Delhi located? Delhi is located in this particular basin. Okay, this is the basin where Delhi is located, this entire basin. Why is it called as a basin? Because it is totally surrounded by mountains. Okay, you see this patch, this is Himalayas. Okay, the tallest mountains in the entire world blocking this entire part. It's like a solid wall. On the other hand, here we have the Hindu Kush, and then here we have the Suleiman range. It is totally surrounded by mountains on all the sides. Fine. And towards this side, we have the entire plateau region, a high elevated plateau region. Okay, the Deccan Plateau region. In between comes the northern plains, totally low level, low elevated. It's like a basin. Okay, if I had to draw the sidewise, this is the plateau region. Okay, so this is the peninsular part, and this is the basin, and here we have the Himalayas. Okay, so this particular basin is Delhi, the sidewise profile. Okay, this is Himalayas. The Deccan Plateau. The Gangetic Plains. In this basin, Delhi is located. The first factor is continentality. What do you mean by continentality? Located completely inside the land, far away from the ocean, far away from the coast, located deep inside the land, surrounded by land everywhere. Okay, surrounded by continent everywhere. That is what is continentality. What is the role of continentality here? The farther you move away from the coast, the lesser the winds. Winds become low. Okay, jitna andar jaoge, the impact of the winds are low. And the overall moisture content decreases, humidity decreases, air becomes very, very dry and light winds. Okay, so in certain seasons only we experience strong winds, otherwise the natural state is calm conditions because of its continentality. Okay, so very deep interior location. Second, nature of location. This existence in a low-lying bowl kind of depression. It is totally surrounded by mountains and high elevated region on all the sides. Okay, it's like a depression. If something is trapped here because of low winds, it is not very easy to get dispersed. Okay, since the winds are not very strong here, because of continentality, not much of winds are strong. And in addition to this, the bowl-shaped depression traps the air very easily. बहुत easily यहाँ पर trap हो जाएगा. Okay, you cannot easily flush them. You cannot easily remove them. In some seasons, it is possible because of strong winds. Okay, so let's say we are in the summer month. There is southwest monsoon. Strong southwest monsoon will push them away. उसको flush करके ऐसे उठा के लेके जाता है. Or after the peak winters, when the northeast monsoon is stronger, the winds are coming in the opposite direction. Otherwise, it is totally calm condition. If you release a good amount of pollutants here, it is trapped for longer time. Okay? This is the role of space. Okay, the location itself is the major reason. So that is not the case with respect to the coastal location. On coastal locations, we have on daily basis the sea breeze and land breeze. Okay, so day and night the temperature pressure conditions vary, and that causes easy movement of winds. Is that right? The role of time, most important one. Okay, the time during which we observe these low temperature conditions is the end of October, November, and first and second week of December. Okay, so now it is little bit prolonging also. Okay, so we'll talk about that. In this time only, why the air quality drops? We have high air pollutants throughout the year. पूरा साल भर हम vehicular emission देखते हैं, पूरा साल भर जो construction dust वगैरह देखते हैं. Why only during this time? First point, this is a transition period between southwest and northeast monsoon. The southwest monsoon would have started to withdraw from the first week of September. By October, it would have gone most of the time. Okay, so in the recent times, we are saying that there is a delay in the retreat. By the end of October, for sure, no monsoon is left. Southwest monsoon is completely retreated. Okay, यहाँ से तो पूरा के पूरा retreat हो गया. And the strength of northeast monsoon is not very strong yet. Okay, for a stronger northeast monsoon, you need the temperature to go down very much. बहुत ठंडा होना चाहिए, तब भी वो because of surface anticyclonic circulations. Okay, when you see the formation of surface anticyclonic circulations under the influence of subtropical westerly jet streams, then only the northeast monsoon becomes stronger. वो होगा second half of December or January only. So therefore, this is the time gap during which the southwest monsoon has gone, northeast monsoon has not become very, very strong. So therefore, it is a transition time of calm conditions, where the winds are not very strong. First of all, there is a continentality, and then there is a total bowl-shaped depression. In this time, there are no winds at all. Okay, so because it's a transition zone. Over a period of time, the temperature is decreasing in this season. Okay, you are in the end of October. From October, November, December, in this entire time period, every day temperature is gradually declining. Why? Length of the day is decreasing. Intensity of sunlight is decreasing because the sun's position has shifted towards the south of equator. September 23rd is when we have equinox. Okay, September 23rd is when we have equinox. Okay, so if you talk about this, the sun has moved towards the south of equator, right? And this entire region, the angle of incidence of sunlight, okay, it is slanting. Every subsequent day, sun is becoming slanting. And length of the day is decreasing. On September 23rd, we have 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. But every subsequent day, the length of the day is decreasing. So overall temperature is dropping. In that scenario, you very easily see the formation of temperature inversion. What is this temperature inversion? Temperature inversion is a scenario where the layer which is there near to the ground is colder, whereas the air above that is warmer. There is a warm layer and below that there is cold layer. So that with increase in altitude, temperature is with increase in altitude, temperature is increasing. Normally, temperature will decrease with increase in altitude. That is what we call it as normal lapse rate. Okay, normal lapse rate is this. Okay, if this is temperature, this is altitude. With increase in altitude, the temperature decreases. This is what is normal lapse rate, 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer, NLR. But if there is a inversion layer in between, it decreases as long as there is a normal layer, and in the inversion layer it starts to increase, and once the inversion layer is over, it decreases. This layer is called as temperature inversion layer. In the temperature inversion layer, temperature increases. That happens whenever there is a warm layer above the cold layer. Okay, this is a warm layer, this is a cold layer. This kind of inversion is very easily formed in plain areas during the months of winter. What exactly happens? The surface is losing the heat continuously. The surface is losing the heat continuously. Every subsequent day, the length of the day has decreased. Every subsequent day, length of the day has decreased. The intensity of sunlight is decreasing. Therefore, during the overall daytime as well as nighttime, the amount of radiation which is lost by the surface is more than the incoming light which it had received during the daytime. During the daytime, it would have received some heat, but during the daytime as well as nighttime combined together, it has lost more amount of heat. Overall temperature of the surface is decreasing. Every subsequent day, temperature starts to drop. Okay, after certain time, the temperature of the surface is sufficiently low enough. बहुत ठंड हो जाता है, and then the air above this also becomes cooler. Once the air cools, okay, so why this is cooling? Because of direct contact with the surface. Wherever there is a hot surface, air becomes hot. Wherever there is a cold surface, air becomes cold, which is in direct contact with the surface. Okay, so this behaves in the same way as that of surface. So therefore, the air which is there near to the surface becomes colder. However, the air above that is still warmer. Why? Because it had observed the heat released by the surface. यहाँ से जो heat radiation release हुआ था ना, उसको ये पकड़ लिया. This is a warm layer. Because of direct contact with the cold surface, this is a cold layer. Warm layer above the cold layer, there is a temperature inversion. This type of inversion is called as radiation inversion. इसी को हम बोलते हैं radiation inversion. The conditions are totally ideal for the formation of radiation inversion over northern plains during the month of October, November, December. Every subsequent day, radiation inversion is intensifying. One of the most important characteristic of temperature inversion is that it prevents convection. It suppresses convection. It ensures there is a calm condition. It reduces the wind movement. It causes the air to settle down, because air can rise only when there is cooler layer above the warm layer. When temperature is subsequently decreasing, then only the air can rise and expand and cool down. That is causing convection. If there is a warm layer above the cold layer, it cannot cause convection. It stops convection. It suppresses convection. In the urban areas, if this kind of inversion is forming, it will trap all the pollutants in the urban areas only. It will not let it disperse. One of the strongest reason behind the bad air quality over Delhi, the formation of temperature inversion. It starts by the end of October. Okay, so every subsequent week it is becoming stronger and stronger. Okay, so we are in the first week of December. You can clearly see the temperature difference. Stronger the temperature difference, greater the chances of temperature inversion. Greater the temperature inversion, lower dispersal of air pollutants. So if at all you had heard today's news, it is said IMD has issued the warning that temperature is going to drop further, and most probably the entire month is going to be the bad air quality only. Because the pollutants are not getting dispersed. Temperature inversion is very, very clearly established. Temperature inversion. Okay? So this is the time during which we observe temperature inversion in this entire northern plains, because of low temperature, because of calm conditions, and these two are very much favorable for temperature inversion. It is also the time of stubble burning. What is the stubble burning? Stubble refers to the leftover part of the rice after it is harvested. Harvest के बाद में जो leftover part है ना, उसको हम बोलेंगे stubble. इसके पीछे बहुत लंबा सा कहानी है. कहाँ से शुरू करें इसका? कहाँ से? टाइमलाइन बताइए. शुरू करते ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन से. During the Green Revolution, or before the Green Revolution for that matter, before the Green Revolution, this entire region of Punjab and Haryana, the major cropping pattern was wheat and pulse. Pulse was the major crop during the summer. Wheat was a major crop during the winter. It is natural. ठीक है? ये तो natural है. Because wheat does not require too much of rainfall, which requires very cold conditions. Pulse also does not require too much of rainfall. Pulse requires warm conditions. During the summer, it remains dry. There is a good amount of high temperature. You can grow pulse. During the winter, it remains cool and dry. You can grow wheat. Pulse, wheat combination. With the introduction of Green Revolution, two major changes happened. Okay, so we provided, with the government support and the support of Indian Agriculture Research Institute, the high yielding variety of rice was provided. It was introduced this entire region. High yielding variety rice, high yielding variety wheat. दोनों introduce हुआ था. And both of them was made very, very attractive with the government support. Subsidy for purchasing the seeds, subsidy for fertilizers, pesticides, good irrigation supply, okay, power subsidy, then there is MSP, most advantageous. दोनों के लिए अच्छा सा MSP दे दिया. Everyone shifted to this pattern. Rice during the summer, wheat during the winter. Pulses were totally neglected. Okay, pulses were totally neglected. वो तो निकल ही गया. Punjab is now most of the pulse in Punjab comes from outside the Punjab. Earlier it was one of the largest producer. With the introduction of this combination, rice wheat combination in summer and winter, initially it was fine. Initially there were no issue. Because the summer starts from there in the month of March, April. You start the rice sowing, rice transplantation. Okay, so you know the way of rice cultivation. Rice is first sown in a nursery. Once the plants come out to some height, then it is removed from the nursery bed. It is transplanted into the open field. There, during the transplantation, you need to keep the entire open field filled with water. पूरा water से stagnant रखना है. Only in the stagnant water you can transplant. Okay, because that helps in controlling weeds. Weed control के लिए वो ज़रूरी है. Otherwise, if you keep the water level low, weeds will come to a very great extent. It's one of the well-established method, the flood irrigation method. Okay, naturally the rainfall was less, but with this government support, expansion of irrigation canals, they said, चलो price लेके आ जाओ, तो बहुत attractive हो गया. They start to grow rice with the irrigation support. Okay, during the summer rice, during the winter wheat. Over a period of time, they started to grow rice in such a high quantity. We saw the green revolution became very successful. It became very attractive. The product profits were very, very high. Everyone started to have this combination only. Rice during summer, wheat during the winter. Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, everywhere the same combination. But rice requires this flood irrigation method. Over a long period of time, continuous flood irrigation method caused soil salinization. Why? Because you are growing rice during the hot summers. And hot summers causes easy evaporation of water. As the water gets evaporated, it will leave the salts behind. The salts were continuously accumulating in the soil, and that caused salinization of the soil. Over a long period of time, this was observed. Continuously, salinization was happening. Both the governments of Punjab and Haryana passed legislations which prohibits the transplantation of rice before the first or second week of June. Okay, they will announce in which date it has to be done. So you cannot transplant before June. Earlier they used to do it March, April, May. अच्छा खासा time था. Okay, you will get the harvest by the month of June, July only harvest हो जाएगा. Okay, so and there was sufficient time before the wheat sowing was done. Wheat is a winter crop. Wheat sowing is done by the end of October. In fact, you could have grown some vegetables, fruits as a rabi crop. Sorry, as a zaid crop. So now with the postponement of rice towards the lower calendar, okay, so calendar में उस side में postpone हो गया ना. Rice sowing is banned before, so rice transplantation is banned before the first week of June. Now why did they allow in June? Because by then monsoon is here, overall temperature decreases, evaporation decreases, soil salinization is put under control. The sowing is delayed, the transplantation is delayed, harvesting got delayed. Harvesting now happens by the end of October. Okay, second, third week of October, that is when the harvesting is done. And that is also the time of wheat sowing. Okay, that is also the time of wheat sowing. In between, one more thing happened. During the Green Revolution, due to mechanizations, the combined harvesters were introduced. The combined harvesters, they harvest the rice using tractors. Okay, so it will cut it. By itself, वो खुद काटेगा, mechanization. But it will leave a stubble. When it was earlier done manually, they used to cut it at the base. It is easier. Okay, you don't leave the stubble, but the machines will cut at slightly higher level. It will leave a stubble. Earlier, even there was a use for that. Even if the stubble was left, people used to cut it and feed it for cattle. Okay, so cattle के लिए feeding के लिए use हो रहा था. Over a period of time, cattle population decreased. There was no use for stubble. There was no use for stubble. Second, the time gap between the rice and wheat decreased. Okay, so you have to sow wheat as early as possible. You cannot delay the sowing of wheat because there should be moisture content in the air during the sowing of wheat. You give time, the air becomes drier. If in dry air, if you sow wheat, overall production becomes less. And also the harvest is also delayed. Harvest will get postponed to February and March. By then, if the rain comes, the entire harvest is gone. So it has to be sown as early as possible, but the rice harvest is delayed. Okay, so rice harvested through combine harvester, it will leave a stubble. There is no use of stubble. There's no other option, just burn it off. Farmers have no use for this stubble. Okay, even if you think ठीक है तो जलाना नहीं है, एनवायरनमेंट के लिए अच्छा है, टाइम नहीं है. पहले तो पैसा भी लगाना है यहाँ पर, मैन्युअली इसको निकालना है, एक्स्ट्रा पैसा लगेगा और टाइम भी लगेगा, दोनों नुकसान है. Okay, so ज़्यादा टाइम देने से your wheat sowing is getting delayed. What will you do? So you'll just burn it off. हवा तो बाद में देखते हैं. So everywhere, this practice of stubble burning got spread into this entire region of Punjab, Haryana, Western UP. And during the winter, it goes in such peak form. Okay, if at all by mistake you take a roadways from Delhi to Chandigarh, वो भी रात में गया तो गया, okay, by mistake में एक बार गया था. Okay, daytime it's fine because they burn it during the night time only. Okay, majorly they burn it during the night time. एक तो पकड़े नहीं जाएंगे, दूसरा है कि easily हो जाएगा. Okay, stubble burning releases huge amount of pollutants. And during this time there are light winds coming from this air. जो mountain से ऐसे उतर के इस साइड में आता है ना, ये सारा लेके आके हमारे लिए present करते हैं. चलो ले लो. Okay, so it will just push all these pollutants in this direction and gets trapped. Why? This is a bowl-shaped depression surrounded by mountains on all the sides. Okay, so space is also contributing its role. This is the peak time, the end of October and first week of November. Huge quantity of stubble is burned. All of this just pumped into the atmosphere. It is not getting dispersed. Why it is not getting dispersed? Because of temperature inversion, which prevents the dispersal of pollutants. Already calm conditions are there because of the transition between southwest and northeast monsoon. ठीक है, that is about stubble burning. फिर उसी टाइम में आता है हमारा दिवाली. It is the same time during which we have Diwali. Okay, so and we have to celebrate Diwali with crackers. ऐसे कैसे? See, so in the recent times, there's this argument. During the Diwali time, we don't have much of air pollution, if at all you had observed. Okay, so that was there before 10 years. Okay, so in my last 15 years of time in Delhi, I have observed this. Earlier, during the Diwali time, there immediately after Diwali, next week completely, it is like totally smoggy. But in the last 3-4 years, after Diwali, there is not much of air pollution. Have you observed this? Thanks to climate change. Okay, all these conditions are depend upon the low temperature. Okay, so low temperature is the criteria. Low temperature causes calm condition. Low temperature causes temperature inversion. Low temperature causes the stable air. Because of climate change and global warming, this low temperature onset is getting delayed. October end, there is no low temperature. We had warm conditions sufficient. And usually, Diwali is then, okay, it is during that time only. So, the temperature is still warm. There is some good amount of winds. It will cause dispersal of these pollutants into the upper atmosphere. और ऊपर थोड़ा सा disperse करेगा. And वो impact तब नहीं दिखेगा, 1 हफ्ते 10 दिन के बाद में दिखेगा, when the temperature drops. Then suddenly you will see, for example this year you must have observed, suddenly एक ही दिन में हमें फर्क पता चला था, दिवाली के 10 दिन के बाद में. When the temperature drops at one particular level, we'll start to see the impact immediately because there is already so much of air pollutants. Okay, so definitely the role of cracker burning is there. It releases good amount of pollutants in the air. Okay, it releases good amount of pollutants, and over a period of time we have increased their burning. Okay, so पहले सुप्रीम कोर्ट बैन करने के पहले कम था, बैन करने के बाद में ज़्यादा हुआ है. Okay, so बैन करने से और ज़्यादा आ गया. All of this happens in the same time. That is the role of time. There is a role of high pollutants, there is a role of space, there is a role of time. Particularly we should be aware of time. Okay, this is a natural tendency of any living being, right? Okay, take for example plants. Okay, trees and plants, as they transit from summer to winter, okay, so they have this basic minimum awareness of the surrounding environment. Okay, dryness is coming, cold conditions are coming, there will not be much of moisture availability, let's shed the leaves. Leaf shedding starts. Okay, there is a basic minimum awareness. We don't have that kind of awareness, the human beings. Temperature is decreasing, winds are going to be calm, dispersal of pollutants is going to be difficult. Okay, थोड़ा सा कम जलाएंगे. Okay, थोड़ा सा vehicle कम use करेंगे. Okay, pollution कम करने की कोशिश करेंगे. ये नहीं करना है हमें. Okay, ऐसे कैसे? We'll burn more. Okay, so we'll burn more crackers, we'll use more vehicles. Okay, जो होगा कल देखते हैं. Okay, so in that sense, human beings are not so very adaptable. Okay, and adaptation is the basic requirement of survival. Okay, survival होना है तो adaptation होना ही है. We need to adapt according to the condition. See, we cannot blame on geography for this. Okay, these conditions are there. Many places it is there. You want to live here, this is the place you want to live here, so we need to adapt. Okay, temperatures are going to go down, calm conditions are going to be there. You cannot change that. You cannot stop temperature inversion. You cannot make Delhi come out of this bowl-shaped depression. Okay, so पहाड़ तोड़ के so air movement allow करेंगे, वो सब कर सकते हैं. You cannot change geography. What we can do? Please reduce the pollutants. That is the only possibility. The source of pollutants, so much of pollutants which we are having, okay, this has to be reduced. This is the only way out. Okay? So now, because of this high air pollution, what all the various negative impacts happen? Impacts on the human health. ये सब तो आपको पता ही है. Respiratory issues, asthma, bronchitis, okay, so the lung irritation, और क्या क्या हुआ है बताइए. आप ज़्यादा बता सकते हो. Cardiovascular problems, so all the blood related issues. Okay, so blockage. Okay, so there are higher chance of stroke here. Okay, so eye and skin irritation, definitely. All the health related issues. Environmental impacts, damage to the plants. How? The photosynthetic capacity of plants decreases. In the presence of these secondary air pollutants, their photosynthetic capacity decreases. In the presence of ozone, their overall, the reaction with the ozone reduces their productivity. Okay, plant productivity, ecological productivity decreases. Crop yield reduction, same. Okay, overall production of the crop productivity decreases. And soil and water pollution, how? This much of smog. Okay, गलती से भी बारिश हो गया तो क्या होगा? All of this settles down. Biodiversity loss in terms of all of these issues, overall loss for biodiversity. Climatic impacts in terms of reduced visibility decreases. That's why we see frequent disruption for transportation. Okay, flight getting cancelled, train getting delayed. Okay, so road transportation getting disrupted, accidents in the highway, right? And contribution to climate change, because some of these compounds are present inside the smog. They are also greenhouse in nature. For example, ozone. Ozone is a greenhouse gas also. Okay, it tries to trap heat. Economic impacts in terms of healthcare cost. Okay, additional cost of healthcare. All these health issues, agriculture loss because of loss in the productivity, Workforce productivity, obviously overall productivity of this labor, their productivity decreases. Okay, so and to control, we have to implement these measures. Okay, construction come karo, ban karo. Okay, so ye sara industrial activity come karo. Of course, it will impact the common man. Okay, so in that video, you would have seen very nicely it is represented. It is not about the elitist. This air pollution impacts common man more. Right? Transport disruption, damage to structures and building. How? This smog and their components, they are capable of corrosion. Okay, corrosion, impacting this building material, building structure, rubber, and all of these metals, they get corroded. These are the major impacts. So what is the solution? Solution is the same thing. You need to work on the reduction of pollutants. Okay, so we have no other way. You cannot deal with the time. You cannot deal with the space. That is there. Okay, it is static. So to reduce the pollutants, we have been implementing certain measures. Okay, we have been implementing certain measures. There are few more things. If not this, if not reducing pollutants, there are some more things which can increase the better quality. मतलब better air quality लेके आ सकते हैं. वो क्या है? हमारा luck. Okay, if we are lucky enough. So one thing which can increase the air quality, which can make things better, is jet streams. If we are lucky, the subtropical westerly jet stream, which is strongly present during the winters, gets well established over the northern plains. The subtropical westerly jet stream gets well established over the northern plains. Okay, so on these jet stream, they follow meandering pattern like this. As they follow meandering pattern, sometimes they come very near to the surface. Surface के लिए बहुत पास में आ जाएगा. And these air pollutants which are trapped gets removed, gets dispersed by these jet streams. For that, you need a strong jet stream. Okay, this sometimes happens. Okay, so overall air quality is very, very bad. Suddenly overnight air quality improves. Overnight improves, it's thanks to the subtropical westerly jet streams. It increases the wind action, it disperses the air pollutants. Don't think it will reduce, it will disperse. Okay, मतलब एक जगह में हमारे लिए था, अभी सबके लिए बांट देंगे. Second, if we are lucky further, it will bring western disturbance. During the same time, over Mediterranean region and the Central Asia, there is good amount of rainfall happening. Why? Because of temperate cyclones, because of onshore westerlies. Okay, it is because of them, there is a good amount of rainfall happening. And this moisture content, the air which is rich in moisture content, is picked up by this jet stream and brought over this region. As it encounters these high mountains, it drops them. It causes rainfall here. In this entire region, there is a chance of rainfall. The northwestern India, during the winter, it receives rainfall. What do we call it as? Western disturbance. Okay, if there is a strong jet stream, if there is a strong western disturbance, again this gets cleared. It increases the wind activity. It reduces the chance of temperature inversion. But हमारा bad luck देखो. Jet stream is weaker. Western disturbance is delayed. Last year it happened. Last year, western disturbance was delayed till the second week of February. Okay, this western disturbance is responsible for heavy snowfall over the Himalayas, Kashmir. There was no snowfall in Kashmir in the entire month of December and January last year. Western disturbance was weak because of weaker jet stream. Why the jet stream was weaker? Who made it weaker? हम लोग. Through climate change. The global difference of pressure between the different regions has decreased. Global difference of temperature has decreased. That has reduced the strength of the jet streams which moves between these different regions. Between the Hadley cell and Ferrel cell, the jet stream when they are moving, it depends upon these contrast. But the contrast has decreased. The Ferrel cell is also warmer. Polar cell is also warmer. Overall temperature contrast is less. Jet streams are lesser. Jet streams are weaker. Therefore, it reduces the wind activity. Therefore, it brings less moisture content. Rainfall chances are also less. If at all there is a good western disturbance, good jet streams, okay, so again the situation will be better. हम उसके लिए भी एक शॉर्टकट ढूंढ रहे हैं, artificial rainfall, cloud seeding and artificial rainfall. That is not a sustainable solution, because the chances of cloud seeding causing rainfall is less than 50%. You cannot do it in a targeted manner. Okay, so cloud seeding यहाँ आप करके यहीं पे बारिश होना तो थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी है. यहाँ पर क्लाउड सीडिंग करेंगे, जाएंगे मेरठ में बारिश होगा. It is not guaranteed. Okay, so and guaranteed तो वो बारिश का है ही नहीं. Okay, and it is not an easy effort, it's a very costly effort. Okay, so last year we were thinking of doing that, suddenly एक दो दिन बारिश आ गया, फिर वो बंद कर दिया. अभी दोबारा सोच रहे हैं, we are thinking of cloud seeding and artificial rainfall, because rainfall reduces this, the amount of smog in the air, पूरा settle down हो जाएगा, improves the air quality. ठीक है. So other than that, what else we are doing? The most important action which we have taken is in the form of CAQM. What is this CAQM? Commission for Air Quality Management. CAQM. You know, this problem of air quality, bad air quality over Delhi has been existing since a long time. Okay, Supreme Court took it up. Supreme Court monitored this. It has been monitoring this. Okay, even now it is from the monitoring of Supreme Court only we are seeing these efforts. So earlier, Supreme Court had established a body which was called as EPCA, Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority. EPCA was there. This body was looking after all the measures to control air quality over Delhi and NCR. It was given the responsibility to improve, to take measures to improve the air quality over Delhi and NCR. But this body was not a statutory body. There was a body, Supreme Court established this. Okay, so and this was trying to do things, but it was not very powerful because the law was not very clearly there. It was not given powers through legal provisions. It was in the year 2021, the central government passed a bill separately to replace this with a statutory body. Okay, so this body was overseeing, then this was replaced with a statutory body with proper legal powers. That is what is CAQM, Commission for Air Quality Management. Legally it is defined, it is passed in the parliament. So what exactly is the overall objective of this body? It is the sole authority to look after all the issues related to air pollution around Delhi. It will monitor the air pollution, it will take the measures to control air pollution. And this function, its function supersedes every other body in this entire area. All the state governments, entire surrounding Punjab, Haryana, so Delhi, Rajasthan, UP, everyone's authorities superseded. CPCB, SPCB. Okay, so इन्हीं का ही पूरा जो भी order देंगे वो सब follow करेंगे. It is the sole authority. It will plan and execute all the measures to prevent and control air pollution over Delhi. Okay, it makes a framework for identifying the air pollutants and prepare the action plans. Okay, this body is the sole authority which is responsible for that. If somebody violates this, they can be fined as well as punished with imprisonment. Any of the orders of CAQM, if somebody is violating, any of the provisions of this act, if somebody is violating, they can be not only fined, they can also be imprisoned. However, farmers are exempted from here. Okay, so because the issue we have studied this, there's less option. Okay, so the provision is basically you need to provide alternatives. Without that, you cannot just simply punish them, right? So farmers are exempted. However, you can fine them. उनसे fine collect कर सकते हो. So this is mainly CAQM, and one of the most important function of CAQM is to implement GRAP. graded response action plan. GRAP was there even before CAQM. Okay, so during EPCA also itself was there, and then it was then transferred. This responsibility was transferred to the CAQM. What exactly is GRAP? Graded Response Action Plan. You must have heard about this in news. Right now we are having the fourth. Okay, so fourth stage mein to hai hi. So there are 4 stages in which this graded response action plan was implemented depending upon the air quality. Okay, overall air quality index over Delhi NCR is used for implementing these measures. Okay, air quality index vary between 0 to 500. This is the maximum limit. Many other times it is just showing 500. Don't think it is 500. It can be 1000, it can be 1500, it can be 2000 also. Still it shows 500 only. Okay, if it uses a set of air pollutants and gives this combined measure, the number between 0 to 500. Up to 200 is considered to be fine. Okay, so most of the hill stations, most of the tier 2, tier 3 cities, they don't even go above 100. हमारे लिए 200 तक normal हो गया. It is fine. मतलब 200 तक good air quality है. When the AQI goes beyond 200 up to 300, it is considered to be poor air quality. Then there is a stage 1 measure. Okay, stage 1 measures includes like initially जो हम करते हैं ना, so ज़्यादा कुछ forcefully implement नहीं करेंगे. We'll try to reduce the air pollution, taking some measures. If the air quality further goes down from 300 to 400, then the stage 2 measures will come. There are some restrictions. If the air quality goes between 400 to 450, then the stage 3 comes little bit tougher. When the air quality goes 450 and above, then comes the toughest measures. Okay, so जो भी restrictions होगा, जो भी control measures होगा, वो अलग-अलग grades में हमने divide कर दिया. For example, at the stage 1, we have measures like dust control measures, ban on garbage burning, promotion of public transportation. उनको बोलेंगे और use कर लो. ठीक है, so like this. So ज़्यादा बहुत tight control नहीं है. Grade 2 में होगा ban on diesel generators except on essential services. Increased road cleaning frequency and restrictions on construction activity. Restrictions होगा. In grade 3 comes ban on most of the construction activities. Okay, so earlier it was in grade 4, it has been shifted. Recently it was revised. It has made little bit more stricter. Restrictions on truck entry into Delhi. Okay, so possible implementation of odd even scheme. Online schooling for younger students. Okay, यहाँ पर ये third level में था and यहाँ पर primary school students are targeted. Okay, exempting for 10th and 12th standard. यहाँ पर सबके लिए होगा. Okay, earlier it was given the option to the state governments to decide. Now it has been made compulsory. Okay, state governments have to compulsorily make it online. At the highest level we have restrictions, further restrictions on truck entry. वहाँ पर थोड़ा सा allow करेंगे, यहाँ पर completely ban कर देंगे. Closure of schools, potential ban on the private vehicle use in terms of, so वही rationing, odd even scheme, etc. See, when we are moving towards higher levels, that may turn out to be restrictions on the personal freedom, which it is not expected in any democratic country. But still we are forced to follow this considering the situation. For example, odd even scheme for that matter. Okay, so if the government is saying that you cannot use your vehicle, that is a restriction on your freedom, right? But still it is being implemented, okay, considering the bad situation. Okay. On stage by stage it is going to be implemented. This is what is called as graded response action plan. So right now the Supreme Court is monitoring this implementation. Okay, so CAQM के हाथ में तो CMQM से Supreme Court ले लिया कि मैं बताऊंगा तब करना. Okay, it is not agreeing to lift the stage 4 yet. Okay, अभी भी चालू है stage 4. Okay, recently there were some revisions. Okay, so they have made it a little bit more strict. In addition to this, there is also National Clean Air Program NCAP. You must have heard about this twice. It has been asked in mains in UPSC. 2 बार क्वेश्चन आया है इसके ऊपर. This is a program implemented since 2019. Okay, so overall this program aims not only for Delhi NCR, it targets all the 132 major cities of India where the air pollution is very, very high. At the national level, this program is implemented for improving the air quality. Okay, overall target is to reduce the concentration of two particular air pollutants, that is PM10 and PM2.5. Okay, initial target was to reduce by 20%. Okay, in 5 years, that is by 2024. 2024 तक ये 20% हमें कम करना था. Okay, so and that was as per compared to the 2017 level. 2017 के level के हिसाब से 20% कम करना था हमें. Okay, जैसे जैसे 2024 अप्रोच होने लगा तो कम नहीं हुआ था, तो एज यूजुअल हमने टारगेट को बढ़ा दिया. ओके, सो बोला कि 20% छोड़ो, हम 40% कर देंगे. ओके, सो फिर डेडलाइन भी इंक्रीज कर दिया. ओके, सो नाउ द डेडलाइन इज 40% by 2026. Okay, but however the overall performance is very, very low. Other than this, there were some more measures were introduced to control stubble burning across Delhi NCR and the surrounding states. What are the measures? One important measure which was suggested and developed by PUSA, okay, that is biodecomposer. Biodecomposer is basically made up of microorganisms which is capable of decomposing this stubble without removing it actually. उसको काटने का जलाने का ज़रूरी नहीं होता है, तो उसके ऊपर स्प्रे कर दो, वो कंटिन्यूसली डिकम्पोज करके उसी के सॉइल के अंदर ही उसको मिक्स कर देता है. इट इनफैक्ट इट एड्स टू द फर्टिलिटी. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट इज बायोडिकम्पोजर. In addition to this, there is also usage of happy seeder. What is a happy seeder? Happy seeder is a machine which is capable of sowing the wheat without removing the rice stubble. Okay, the issue is while sowing the wheat, you have to remove the rice stubble. That is why they were burning it off, right? So this machine is capable of sowing the wheat without removing the rice stubble. So as you try to sow it, it will remove it, it will cut it, and it will bury it in the soil. It will become a kind of fertilizer to the soil. उसके अंदर mix कर देते, फिर उसके ऊपर sowing हो जाएगा. The problem is this happy seeder is little bit costly. Individual farmers cannot afford this. A group of farmers, maybe they can come together, they can raise some funds and they can use this. It is not very widely used, but over a period of time their use is increasing. That is what is happy seeder. Okay, and then there is also, of course, there is a use of stubble for biofuel. Okay, so last year this has been very successful in Punjab. Okay, I read a very successful story where a young guy, okay, I think 26, 27 years old. Okay, so he purchased some of the tractors which are capable of cutting this stubble, and he made a contract with the local farmers. He said, I will cut it, I'll take it, I'll give you money also. Okay, you don't have to burn it. Okay, and he used those tractors to cut it, पूरा उठाया, and he sold it to a local biofuel manufacturing plant. Okay, so within a time period, like I think 15-20 days ka time, he made a profit of 20 lakhs. Yes, he gave it to the farmers also. Very successful initiative. We can produce biofuel using this stubble. Okay, so it's more about the awareness, it's more about accessibility. Okay, so he was saying मेरे पास लोग कम है, investment के पैसा कम है, नहीं तो पूरा पंजाब में कर देता. Okay, so you can use it for biofuels, yes. Okay, awareness is less. And also in many cases there is also usage of this local institutions like Khap Panchayat. Okay, so there have been a increasing awareness among themselves. They are saying कि पूरा village में, पूरा पंचायत में कोई भी stubble burning नहीं करेंगे. Okay, अगर किया तो हम social ban करेंगे ऐसा. Okay, so in some cases it has been effective. Okay, so other than that, there have been fines on the farmers. In fact, it is banned by NGT. It is banned. It is a violation of so the legal provisions also. So you can impose fine on them. Okay, but it is not very effective. Okay, so the effective measure would be to find alternative. Okay, or find the alternative use. So that is the best way. In Delhi also we have few measures, okay, which you see on daily basis. You must have seen these water sprinklers. Okay, so water sprinklers are used to overall reduce the dust, reduce the particulate matter accumulation. Right? And there's this anti-smog guns, the tower smog, anti-smog towers. Okay, they are all used to overall reduce the air quality. Sorry, reduce the pollutants, increase the air quality. Okay, so and PUC certificate has been made compulsory. So of course it is compulsory, but the checking is not very strict. In the recent times, the checking has been made a little bit strict, because the earlier vehicles, the older vehicles, the older the vehicles, the more the pollution it causes, right? So smog tower is basically the large fans which can take the air and purify them, reduce the pollutants and release it back. Okay, so in one of them was set up at CP. Okay, so CP में सेटअप करके इन लोगों ने ऑपरेशन नहीं किया था, छोड़ दिया था. सुप्रीम कोर्ट पूछ रही है इसको कहाँ पर है, क्यों ऑपरेशन नहीं कर रहे हो, इसको जल्दी चालू करो. Okay, so in addition to that, they've also constructed the peripheral highways. You must have heard about the western and eastern peripheral highways to reduce the vehicular emissions. Vehicles entering into the Delhi, है ना, तो उसकी वजह से भी pollution होता है ना. And of course, you must be aware that in Delhi, so the diesel vehicles older than 10 years is banned. Petrol vehicle older than 15 years is banned. Okay, last year another interesting event happened. Okay, so usually it is banned, but people will keep that inside the house. Okay, so घर के बाहर रख देंगे, अंदर रखेंगे, उसको छुपा के रखेंगे, यूज़ नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है, पकड़े गए तो फिर फाइन लगेगा. So last year Delhi government passed a circular saying that घर के अंदर भी नहीं रखना है. जहां पर भी था, विदाउट टेलिंग द ओनर उसको उठा के लेके गया, ओनर के सामने उठा के ले गए डायरेक्टली टू द स्क्रैप यार्ड. बहुत लोग मतलब पुराना ऑडी बेंज वगैरह तो अच्छे दिख रहा है बोल के रखा था, उसको बोला कि स्क्रैप में डाल दिया तो ले लो 50,000 40,000. Okay, so as a compensation they were given. So it has been made little bit strict. This is banned. Older vehicles causes higher pollution, that's why. And in addition to this, of course, the public transport in Delhi is completely CNG based, CNG or electric based only. So in public transport, you cannot use the petrol or diesel. You must have seen cabs, auto, जो भी है वो CNG based ही होता है. You can ban on firecrackers, as I told you, this has been counterproductive. Okay, और ज़्यादा जलाना शुरू कर दिया. As an alternative to this normal crackers, there were also these green crackers, which reduces lesser pollutants than the normal crackers. You must have heard about them. Okay, safe water releaser, for example, SWAS, safe thermite cracker star, safe minimal aluminum sulfur, like this. There are a few crackers which has been made by the government, released into the market. Okay, so and however there requires a wider acceptance, wider availability. Okay, so it is yet to come. ये अभी तक नहीं है. So what else are required to be done? See, as I told you earlier, the changing climatic conditions, the overall global, the changes which we are observing in the present times is going to make things worse. Right? So we have to learn to adapt. That is the only way forward. You want to live here, you want the best of the opportunities, you want to come to Delhi, you want to live here, of course you have to adapt. Right? So we have just seen in detail that you cannot change geography, you cannot change time. Reduce the pollutants, that is the only way forward. Control stubble burning in the surrounding area by providing them with incentives, by providing them with alternatives. Provide happy cedar at lower subsidy. Subsidy दे दो, make it more affordable. Okay, so government के through purchase कर लो stubble. Use it for manufacturing biofuels. Make it incentive. Okay, incentivize this. It's not only that, so the overall social and the moral ये सही नहीं है, environment के लिए अच्छा नहीं है, पहले तो पेट के ऊपर concentrate करो. Okay, so make it incentivize, make it attractive for them. Definitely they will not burn the stubble. Yes, exactly, that's why. They cannot afford that. Okay, so there we can use the farmer producer organization, FPOs. Okay, so if you are thinking कि ठीक है farmers के ऊपर भरोसा नहीं है, किसी को दे दिया तो फिर गायब हो जाएगा, बहुत महंगा वाला मशीन है. So give it to the FPOs, let them share and use it. Right? So use of charcoal is one of another major source of air pollution. Okay, this is again less neglected. ये भी banned है, ग्रैप के अंदर ये भी banned है. चारकोल कहाँ पर यूज़ करते हैं? जो तंदूर बनता है, रोटी, नान, वो कहाँ से बनता है? जो तंदूर का जो ड्रम होता है ना, उसके अंदर तो चारकोल ही होता है. One of the largest source of pollutant during the winter. Throughout the year रहेगा, but winter में तो ज़्यादा लगेगा ना, तो ये इसका जो impact ज़्यादा रहेगा. That has to be replaced. You need to provide alternative for that. Household must avoid using wood, crop residue, cow dung and coal for cooking in the surrounding area. I guess in the surrounding area they use this, replace it with LPG. Stop municipal solid waste burning and develop infrastructure for effective collection and disposal of municipal solid waste, one of the long pending issue. Okay, so when the last time the municipal elections happened, the government which came to power promised that they will remove this, the mountain, beautiful mountain of waste. It is yet to be implemented. Okay, so I hope to look forward to that day. Construction material at construction and demolition site must be covered. Okay, properly cover करके उसका overall pollution कम करना है. Promote the use of electric and BS6 vehicles. BS6 lesser particulate matter, lesser emissions. Promote mass transportation system, reduce the traffic congestion. Okay, so for that the people should stop seeing this vehicular movement or vehicular thing as a status symbol. Right? You can afford, I can afford. Environment cannot afford. It's not only about the cost. Okay, it's not only about the economic cost, it's about the environmental cost. Okay, recently you must have heard, social media में बहुत famous हुआ था. One of the IIT Bombay professor was wearing a torn socks. The socks फटा हुआ था, तो पूरा hole था. He's sitting in a 5-star restaurant आराम से. Okay, so and when he was asked, he said, I can afford to buy the environment, the nature cannot afford to recycle this. Okay, so same is the thing with respect to vehicles also. Okay, so we have to use as much as possible. जितना हो सके mass transportation use करो. Okay, electric vehicles use करो. उसमें भी true electric चाहिए हमें. We don't want electric vehicles which runs on the power which is produced from thermal power plant, where we are burning coal to produce power. Okay, we need to bring true electric. Okay, उसके लिए थर्मल पावर प्लांट के ऊपर रिलायंस कम करना है. ठीक है, so it has to be from the initiative of the citizens. Then only this problem can be resolved. Yes. So there, the government, there it is very easy to implement these strict measures. It is not possible in India. So we know the Beijing case, you must have heard, 10 years before, even I know. So the same situation, 10 years before, the same situation was there. Delhi and Beijing, at the same time, they faced very severe. Beijing went for complete lockdown, 100% lockdown. And that is not implemented here. That is not possible here. Okay, that kind of strict measures, it is difficult to be implemented, particularly in a democratic country like India. We have seen the implications of this kind of lockdown on a common man. Right? Afforestation ko? Yes. That is another thing. Okay, so if you know, wherever there is a good patch of vegetation in the urban areas, there the air quality is better. Okay, so particularly you come to Luton's Delhi. The Luton's Delhi is the central Delhi where we have Rashtrapati Bhavan. Okay, so all the MP quarters, India Gate. There's a very good amount of vegetation. Air quality is better. Okay, so the politicians, they are not feeling much of the issue. You come to the outskirts where the vegetation is very, very low. Air quality is one of the most severe. Yes. Maybe we have to take them to outskirts of Delhi. Anything else? Yes. So Bangalore, what makes it better in terms of air quality? First of all, Bangalore is elevated. It's a plateau. Okay, so in the high elevated plateau, temperature will be moderate. It will not become too extreme. Okay? And there is a very good air circulation happens over there. It clears. Here it is a basin. It gets trapped. And this kind of high level of air pollution is not there. It is growing at a faster rate, but this kind of high level of vehicular usage is not there. There is congestion because of so rapid growth in the city. The roads are not wide. There's a congestion, but this kind of high usage of vehicle is not there over there. Yes, yes. Every type of life which is living in this kind of environment, they get impacted. Okay, so every form of life gets impacted. Plants, animals, birds, everything gets impacted. Okay, so the hazardous effect is there on every living organism, the smog. Okay, so let's take a break and continue.